welcome to my full review of the Nike Pegasus 38. So this is the 38th iteration of the popular Nike Pegasus lineup of shoes. The first shoe was introduced in 1983, that's gone back a while now. But what is this shoe? Well, it's built for daily training, it's for neutral runners, and it's made for the roads. Overall, it's just a workhorse of a shoe. But in my overall review, we can go over the text and specs and my impressions of how it fared after putting 50 miles in the shoe. So without further ado, let's go ahead with my full review. So onto the text and specs of this shoe. So we have a 10mm drop and we have a weight of 310 grams, which is around 11 ounces, so it's quite heavy for a daily trainer. With the upper, we have an engineered mesh upper. And just to say it actually, the only thing that has changed in the 38 as opposed to 37, which we have here, is the overall upper. Everything else, the midsole, the outsole, has stayed the same. So getting back to the upper, we have an engineered mesh upper here. We have a new lacing system. It's called a webbing system. What it does, it provides really good support and lockdown for your foot. We have a wider toe box this year than the 37, last year's iteration, and we have a plushy tongue here, which provides for just greater comfort. With the midsole, we have the Nike React midsole, and that provides for great energy return and bounce. And we also have an AIR Zoom unit embedded within the midsole, and that has pressurized air within and tightly stretched fibers to help with impact absorption and gives you faster movement when you're putting in those miles. And lastly, we have the outsole with plenty rubber, providing for a great grip on those runs. So that's it with the overall text and specs. And let's get on now with my overall impressions of how it fared after putting in 50 miles. Okay, so my overall impressions of this shoe. So how was it for me after 50 miles? So overall, I felt it was extremely similar to the Pegasus 37, this shoe right here. And to the point where, to be honest, it didn't feel any different. Bar one thing, and it's actually unfortunately a con for me, and that's just the upper. How warm it felt and how I bought this in the summer, and I remember my first run I was like, wow, maybe it was 21 degrees, unusually hot here in Ireland, and Christ, I felt like I was being smothered when I went for that 5 or 6 mile run. And to be honest, that sensation has stayed the same. It's kind of remained relatively hot, and I haven't had a chance to see how the upper fared in colder conditions. And for me, it's a big no-no. I don't like hot uppers. I don't like plushy uppers. I feel that a running shoe, regardless of it being built for faster runs or slower runs, it should remain relatively, breathable and lightweight. And I just don't understand why Nike went ahead and just put a heavy upper on this. And for me, it's just it's a bad thing. But overall, I mean, it mightn't bother other runners, but for me it does. But overall, I mean, the midsole, the outsole, everything else, the lacing system, I think it's perfect, and it's great for what it is. But I just can't help be a bit bothered by the upper. So I would choose the 37 over 38 for a daily trainer or for a long run trainer. But overall, I think it's a good, it's hard to say because I just feel that they missed the mark a little bit with the upper here. But with that being said, I'm still happy with the shoe, even though it mightn't sound that way. But overall, the build of the shoe is perfect, and it does what it says in the tin. It's a workhorse, it's really durable, it lasts for miles and miles and miles. And I can use the shoe for years, really. But yeah, I have to say, the upper is the only thing that really bothers me. But that's my overall impressions. It doesn't seem like I'm really happy with it, and I suppose I am and I haven't. But overall, it's still a great shoe, and it's worth the price. It's €120 in the Nike store in Ireland, and yeah, I mean, it's worth the price. Just do keep in mind the upper issue. That's it, folks. Thanks for tuning in as always, and I will speak to you on the next review.